My 39M brother 20 lives with his girlfriend about an hour's drive away from me and my wife. My brother and I have never been close due to the age difference. Our parents had me young, and then him later in life. He was always the spoiled one who got whatever he wanted. We see each other on holidays and special occasions, but other than that we might talk on the phone once or twice a month. Last night I had to work late and could not be reached by phone. When I got off, I noticed that I had 2 missed calls from my brother and a few from my wife, but it was already close to 11 p.m. so I chose to just drive home and not call and possibly wake someone up. I walk into the house and see my wife, 41F, and brother on the couch playing Mario Kart. When I walk in they both say hi and go back to their game. I went to the bedroom to shower and frankly, just sleep. I was exhausted. My wife comes in a few minutes later, and I ask her why my brother was there. She said, he called her because he and his girlfriend had gotten into a pretty heated argument, and he just needed to get away from the situation for a little while he figured out what he was going to do. They only have one car, and it's in the girlfriend's name so he couldn't take it. Apparently, he tried to call me and when I didn't answer, he called her and she went and picked him up an hour away, even though she hates driving at night. They also went out to dinner before coming home. I told her that I find it odd that she would pick up my brother and take him to dinner, just because he got into an argument with his girlfriend. That he is an adult and needed to work it out. She just rolled her eyes at me and said he would be staying in the spare room as long as he needed, that I was acting weird, and that he is my brother and has no idea why it was such a huge deal that he was here. I told her that if someone is staying at my house, especially my family, I should be the one who decides that. That he had no right to call her, that he should have waited for me to call him back, and would be talking to him in the morning. She told me to deal with it and grow up, that he was always welcome here. My wife is now mad at me and I am stuck with my brother in the house for who knows how long until he figures out his life. We already have 2 teens. I don't need another kid here. I stand by what I said, my brother doesn't need to be here, but my wife is still mad at me today. Ida for saying that she should not have picked up my brother and allowed him to stay at the house. Update. I don't think just because I think at 18 a person should be out of the house and not rely on family to support them makes me a bad person. People need to grow up and be adults. I expect the same from my children. They are expected to have a job and save money to move out when they are 18 and graduated from high school. If they go to college they can stay but are expected to pay for it on their own and pay a small amount of rent. My wife does not agree with this and says they can stay as long as they need. I am trying to make her see reason. As a kid, I was never taken to the zoo, museums, or out to eat. I was sent to a public school and not allowed to play sports or do activities because there was never money. I had to get a job as soon as I could. My parents were 16 when they had me. Even when they got older and had more money I still did not get the opportunities that my brother was given. He got the best and I got nothing. It's time he stood on his own. Yes, my kids got to go to the zoo/park/museums, play sports and attend activities. They get a lot of what I didn't, but those are my kids not my brother. I don't see why my wife would take him along with her. My brother has always loved her like another mom. So I had to share her with my brother, too. I got home from work last night. Everyone was getting ready for dinner. After dinner I told the kids to please go to their rooms so I could talk to my brother and wife. I asked my brother why he was there and why he felt the need to call us instead of working it out. He said that he just needed to get out of the house. He had found out that his girlfriend had cheated on him and she was planning on leaving. She blamed him for her cheating because he wouldn't marry her or have a baby with her and that was what she really wanted. I said what she wanted wasn't unreasonable. That he was being immature. If he could live with her, he could marry her. My wife said that not everyone wants to be married and have children that young. He is an adult. Grow up. I said I didn't appreciate them making decisions without me. This could have been sorted out the next morning. No one needed to drive 2 hours, or run away from home. I asked when my brother planned on leaving. He talked to his girlfriend. She was moving out by Sunday. Then he would go home. He had 2 months left on the lease, so he was going to look for something smaller to move into. I said that I didn't like him staying that long. My wife said, he's your brother. A few days are not going to kill anyone. I agreed just to stop the fight. I didn't like it, but I felt backed into a corner. I still think he needs to go home and deal with his own problems. My brother said, thanks, I appreciate it and walked off. My wife and I talked some more. Neither one of us is really happy with one another. Story 2. My 26 meters girlfriend, 22F, thinks I'm stringing her along because I haven't proposed in a short time. What can I do? My girlfriend is 22 and I'm 26. We've been together now for 2 years since last week. We've been living together for a little under a year. We have very little arguments and disagreements. But when we do, they're resolved without getting nasty or rude. I love that about her. We both want to have children in the future, and marriage has been something we've both always wanted. She's just a little bit more rigid with it than me. And doesn't understand what future talk is. Since we've moved in together, my feelings for that have only grown. Over the past few months or so, we've talked in even more detail about our future. What our wedding theme is going to be, music, food. I've told her how she's going to be a great mother one day, how I want my future daughter to look like her. She said baby fever and I guess I kind of fueled that. I said that I was thinking about coming home to a little one and how it would be nice. I guess she took that as right now I want that. I've made hints about proposing and stuff. She was wearing a cool ring one day, and I said to her, is that the kind of shape you like, and hinted towards it being for an engagement ring. I just asked her so I could have an idea on what to save up. Not because I was going to propose then. This is where the disconnect came from. We were talking about maybe getting a bigger place together, maybe a 3-bedroom. So when I brought it up again to her, she told me that I can afford the place we are in alone if things were to happen. I'm not going to get into a financial commitment in a bigger place unless there's a commitment from you. I was taken aback by that, and without thinking, I said, so you won't move unless we're engaged? I don't want to feel like I'm forced to do it. She looked at me confused. She asked me why I said it like that. Then she explained how she thought I was going to propose on our 2nd-year anniversary trip. I told her that 2 years is way too soon to propose, and I think she's being unreasonable for expecting that in this point in our relationship. Maybe if we were together 5+ years. I explained how I have no timeline, I just want a future with her and everything I said. But she won't stop with the timeline stuff. Now she thinks I'm not serious and is upset by my reaction. I was just taken aback and didn't word it correctly. She said I'm stringing her along at this point because I told her I wanted to marry her for a long time, and haven't proposed, or I'm not in the process of it. I am saving up though. And I've hinted at that. Story 3. I'm cutting off my family for good because they want the man who SA'd me as a child arrested 20 years later. I tried talking about this to my boyfriend, but I couldn't get it out without sobbing so bad I almost threw up, so I'm just going to talk about it here because I need to tell someone. A bit of backstory: when I was around 4 to 6 years old, I'm currently 26, I would go over to my aunt's house a lot to play with my cousins. A lot of times she would be there talking to my grandma, or she wouldn't be home at all. Which, thinking about it now, kind of feels like a setup. Her husband would pull me away and assault me in a closet and then send me back to play. I don't remember what he said to get me to go with him, but he was family technically, so I trusted him. And I hadn't even started kindergarten yet. How was I supposed to know these things were bad? At some point there was urine involved in what we were doing, and that's when it kind of hit me. Oh, this is his private parts. This isn't supposed to happen, is it? But he had basically sworn me to secrecy, and just beat it into my head that I could never tell anyone, and so I was scared. Him and my aunt had just had baby girl a few months prior, and that's what made me decided to ask about it. Because I, at 6 years old, was worried that he might do this to her also. I grew up in really bad situations around some shady people my grandma knew, so I was always protective over my sister from a young age since I was older, so maybe that's why I was worried about her? But anyways, I finally talked to my grandma about it, and she told me that I couldn't tell anyone or CPS would take me away from her, and we had already had so many scares, so this absolutely horrified me and I never said anything. But a year or so passed and I was still thinking about their daughter. We were all in the same house at some point, not the uncle, they did stop allowing him around the family, but I wanted my grandma to tell my aunt. So I went up to my grandma and asked her, and she was not taking me serious. She was treating me like a little kid that was too scared to go and ask for candy out of an office clerk's jar. Smiling and laughing, haha, no you do it. I'm 7 now, I'm still very young, and after all the fear they've put in me, it's not a small thing to go and tell someone I was assaulted by their husband. After that I kind of just felt defeated and never said anything again. Fast forward a few years. CPS ended up relocating me and my sister when I was about 10 to go live with my aunt across the country, who we've never really met. We ended up living a much better life, so I'm really thankful for that happening and for her. When I turned 15 in the summer, my aunt had set up for us to go back and visit my mom and 3 other siblings for about a month. And it was great for the most part. I loved hanging out with them. They had grown so much since I had last seen them. My mom comes to me and she sits me down and tells me some devastating news. Apparently my cousin, the son of my abuser, was caught doing the same thing to my baby brother. And my mother was coming to me to ask if she thinks I should do anything. At this point I've buried this. It does still bother me, but no one cared about me enough to get justice for me, and now the same is happening to my brother, and I was and am still so hurt. And she manipulated the story so that I'd say no. She told me that it would tear the family apart, her sister might kill herself if her husband or son went to prison for this. She couldn't handle this ruining her life. And she also said that my brother was so young she doesn't think he remembers, and she doesn't want to ask. And if he didn't remember, I don't want him to have to live with that trauma. And I still feel guilty for saying no. But oh my God. You're my mother. You should want to protect your kids at all costs against anyone? Why are you coming to your children to ask if they want to be protected, or if they want you to choose them over a literal child molester? Once I fly back across country to where I was living, I kinds of softly stop talking to my family. I just don't reply as much or reach out. And it's been over 10 years now, and the connection between us is awkward. My mom doesn't understand why I don't like her or want to speak to her ever. It's because of this. Because she didn't care about me. I spent my whole life protecting my sister, and that's all I wanted from her was to protect and defend me, you know? That hurt me so much. And typing it out again, I'm starting to cry. BC, I'm still not over it. Fast forward to last night. Thanks for reading this far. I know it's a lot. My sister, who has moved back to be with our other siblings, calls me while I'm at work at 4 a.m. It's 7 a.m. for her, so not too odd, but she knows what time it is for me, so it's a little alarming. I was busy, so I didn't answer the first call, but she called again, so I got worried and walked away to answer. Y'all. So the daughter I was worried about getting assaulted, finally told everyone that she had been getting assaulted for the last 4 years. Her mom almost died of COVID and was in the hospital for months, and that's when he took the opportunity. And that crushed me. I hope to God that never happened, and now it has. She told the police, and for some reason they don't believe her, and my entire family was like, oh, what if we contact me to testify on her behalf? Mom has been posting on Facebook for pity, asking people to pray for her, and her life is so bad, and what did she do wrong to deserve this? And she's reposting those ugly text things old people repost about how she needs a man that loves her. She's not asking for prayers for her daughter. Do you know what is it that's upsetting her? Her husband asked for a divorce. That's why she's crying on the internet. Not because he's been continuously raping their daughter for 4 years? I am sick to my stomach. My mom was one of the people who suggested calling me. But she couldn't call me herself because I don't want this to be the only reason I defend my kid, and I think now it's hit her why I hate her so much. I'm going to testify. I'm not mad the police are involved and that they're doing something finally. I'm just upset that it took this long, that it's only because they're getting a divorce most likely that's it's okay this time. And my aunt was more concerned with using this against him in the divorce than about her daughter's well-being. I also found out the entire family has known about me my entire life. All these people and no one cared about me. It's insane. I couldn't imagine hearing this happen to a child now and letting it slide. How do you do that? When I talk to the police though, I'm telling them everything. About me and my brother, about everyone who told me to keep quiet, and also that his wife aided and abetted his abuse. I hope everyone goes to jail and gets put on a registry. I want all of their lives ruined for this. I feel like I'll probably have to go to therapy for this soon. It's brought up so many feelings that I really just thought would go away with time. I have a good support system right now. My BF and his family are really sweet and caring. I'm just not ready to say these things out loud. Once this is all done, I'm deleting my social medias that they have contact with, changing my phone number and disappearing from them. I already talked to my sister, and it's not much of a bigger step than I had already taken, but some of them do still have my phone number, and I don't want any chance of anyone reaching out to me. My sister has always been on my side and agrees to keep my life and everything a secret from them. She'll go pick up my siblings every once in a while so I can speak to them and keep contact since they live with my mom. I told them also not to call me if she's around, but they don't even have phones right now, so it's not a big deal. That's all for now. Sorry it was so long. That's for reading. Edit. I just want to thank everyone for the support and kind words. I was worried posting it just BC. Reddit isn't really the best place to find kind words sometimes. It seems like a lot of you guys went through something similar, and I hope you guys have already found peace or at least get justice someday also. I saw all the comments regarding EDMR therapy, and I'll definitely look into that also. But thank you guys. I'm expecting a call from the detective in the morning, so I hope that goes well. My sister told me that they didn't have enough evidence, which was the whole reason she got me involved. I thought that was weird. BC, I thought they took claims like that more seriously, ESP, when the person making the claim was a minor at the time of the incident. I don't know what they're expecting as evidence, but hopefully what I have to say will help out. When I found out about my brother, I had gotten just enough courage to email the county CPS department, and it included a short statement of events, his name and a photo of him. It's dated and everything, and it's the only physical thing I have. Since there are multiple claims, maybe that will mean something? I reached out to my cousin also. It was awkward since I haven't talked to her in 10 years, but I told her how I tried when we were younger and I begged for help for her. BC, I was worried and that I wished things didn't happen the way that they did. She's focusing on healing RN, which is good, and she's getting out of that house, so I'm happy for her. We're on a good path RN, and I believe things will work out how they should. I showed my BF this when he got home from work. BC, I felt bad that he didn't know what was going on, and one of the comments suggested this. He had been holding me while I cried and he felt really bad that couldn't offer help or anything. BC, he didn't know what was wrong. Now he's just angry at all of my family. He had known for most of our relationship that me and my family weren't close and that I didn't like my mom, and he's always respected that and didn't push, but now knowing the full reason, he's just so mad and full of hate for them as well. I didn't want that for him, and I think that's what was so upsetting about telling him, but he's been really sweet to me since, and I'm really grateful for him. But thank you guys. There most likely won't be any updates. I might post something once all of this is over, but for now I just wanted to feel seen and heard, so thank you guys for that.